Hey guys, another episode of Losing Lives where we're covering Street Fighter. This is the movie you know from the 90s. Here we have the trailer to play for you up front. And then we're going to dig into this.
After 7 months of fighting, the civil war in Shadaloo may have reached the turning point. The capital has just fallen.
In December 1994, the forces of freedom will face a power-mad dictator in a struggle for the fate of the world.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. I'm going to kick Bison's ass.
That's the greatest part of the trailer.
You'll have to do better than that.
Okay.
Oh, you better than that. Okay.
The same sound.
Was that the uppercut? That was the uppercut, right? With the
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the part of the thing where you
Tattoo.
Now, who
flexes.
wants to go home and who wants to go with me?
I remember seeing that in theaters.
I think we did too.
Alright, Street Fighter. So I don't think we did. It was '94. So if
Probably
you
did.
were you were born '89, you had to be like 5, 6.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So
No, you're right, because we just saw it at the library. And we were
Yeah.
like, holy shit, Street Fighter.
oh, and
You're right.
just so you know, I don't know if people know or not. I know when we were growing up, library they had a big one on the East Bank around the New Orleans area, which lets you take movies. They had VHS movies, and we'd be able to take them. So I don't know if
We
that might
just steal
confuse people, but
Just steal.
yeah, we were like fuck Blockbuster from long ago and went to the library first.
Yeah.
So, anyways, so Street Fighter movie. First, I want to do is let's get into the game and talk about the game and where that started and like just some stuff about the game that we know, what we remember. Is of course this is I know I played the game pretty well. You played Street Fighter.
Correct.
You played a little. I think you played some.
I remember Street Fighter 2. I would be sitting, like just playing the game, chilling. And when it came to M. Bison, I'd have to stand up. I'd be sweating. Because that shit was hard as fuck.
Yeah, but you know what's funny
That's my
is
recollection from
the
Street
first Street Fighter game was actually copying off of some earlier games of like it wasn't a fighting game. The first Street Fighter was Ryu, and it had like M. Bison, and it had Vega, and it had Sagat with some other.
only play as
It even
Ryu?
had some characters like Birdie,
Ryu
But-
was player 1.
and
If
it was
you pick up the first controller, if you picked up the second controller, you were given Ken.
You were Ken.
yeah, and it was basically like a side scrolling beat 'em up. Like kind
Oh.
of. In fact, they were doing Street Fighter 2 in that same form, but then was like, you know what? Psh, and it was like a final fight, right?
Final Fight was the original sequel they were supposed to have for it, but they decided to go in a
Final-
different direction.
Final Fight was good shit. And you
But that
got to
was
see
originally
the
supposed to
mayor
be-
guy was like Zangief, basically.
Yeah. So that was originally supposed to be Street Fighter
with the pipe.
2.
Even though Mike Hager came out first.
Oh, really?
He came out first because he was in a pro wrestling game in the arcades from Capcom.
I didn't know that.
So
You know,
Zangief-
actually, the characters were mixed up too, because M. Bison was actually Balrog, and M. Bison was for Mike Tyson, and it was a play off that name. And
Oh,
so
M.
M.
Bison was
Bison
supposed to be
was
boxer.
Balrog, okay, and Balrog was who M. Bison was, and like Vega, like they were all kind of mixed, like Vega, Sagat, M. Bison, and Balrog were all mixed up. So then when they did Street Fighter 2 and they did the fighting game, they changed them all around. I think they were worried about M. Bison being a black boxer. Well, it was going to be too close to Mike Tyson And I think they
thought that
were
was the
like,
point.
well, it kind of was, but I think they were worried about some legal ramifications during that time.
make it a crazy
so
white dude.
they just switched them all around.
Because it was Mike Tyson's likeness, and his name on the bar said Mike.
Yeah, so I think,
Really?
Yeah.
yeah. So that was actually the original. So Street Fighter 2 came out, and Street Fighter 2 is what happens when you don't have DLC updates. Because they came out with like Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, Street Fighter
Yeah.
2 like Ultra
like
Turbo,
Alpha.
Super Alpha, blah blah blah.
It's another forgotten gem nobody ever remembers. Was the other Street Fighter sequel that came out on, I want to say it was Nintendo. It was it Super Nintendo?
Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
No. It's called Street Fighter 2010.
I don't think I've ever heard of this.
It is a futuristic platformer.
Oh, I know.
Where you play as Ken, who is a cop, and he's the only character in the game.
I've never heard of this.
Yes.
I heard a little
Look
bit,
it up.
but I can't remember because I was reading
that
into the
reminds
history.
me of Mortal
Street
Kombat
Fighter.
tried that. Or they had that one thing where you play as Sub-Zero, and it was like
Mythologies.
maybe I don't remember. What
Yeah,
But
it
there
was.
was a big
Mythologies.
thing with that because I mean, there's a YouTube video out where they have like the Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat games sitting next to each other in the what is it, like a Blockbuster
Yeah,
or something?
I sent you that link.
Yeah,
Oh, and
you
then
sent me that
Blanca
link.
like reaches through
Yeah.
and crushes Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So there was some rival. In fact, I mean, Street Fighter was really the original fighting game, and everybody really just tried to copy that. Like Mortal Kombat's a copy of it, and I mean, they did their own different things and made things unique. Like Mortal Kombat went a different way, be more violent, but Street Fighter was kind of where it was at, and Street Fighter continued. Like a lot of people were like, Street Fighter 3, nope. They were Street Fighter 2
Fighter 2,
Ultra,
2,
Super,
2, 2,
and they
2,
would
2.
and they would do things like, okay, they would fix stuff. Like typically, what happens now in fighting games is you'll have an update, because like what you'll find is in fighting games, like Vega is like too OP, like he's got
They'll
he's
do a patch.
yeah,
They
like
tone him
nobody
down.
can block this move properly, or he's too quick, or he's his hitbox on this move is a little too big. So they'll do an update and they'll fix it. Well, what Street Fighter 2 did was they kept releasing new versions of the game because that technology didn't exist that fixed it. And a lot of it was like the arcade systems, because it was really big in the arcades, and then after a while it came to Super Nintendo and it went through the things like that. And then from Street Fighter 2, they did the Street Fighter Alpha series, and then they did a couple Street Fighter Alpha games, came back, did Street Fighter 3, but Street Fighter 3 was bad because they felt like we're going to take all the characters away. But they just kept Ryu, and I think they kept Ken, and put like a whole bunch of new characters because they were like, we want to try and
spice
re-energize
things
the series,
I don't
do a bunch of new
remember. What
characters.
system? What platform
It was
that?
it was
Super Nintendo?
no, it was released in the arcade, and then years later on the PS2 they released like Capcom released something
Like some
where
bundle thing.
it's a bundle where you get like 2 or 3 games on a
'Cause
disc,
I don't think I ever played.
and
That
one
doesn't sound
and
familiar
one of
to me at
them
all.
was Third Strike.
Yeah, it wasn't really taken in well
Yeah,
because
not at
there
all.
wasn't a lot of the characters that you had, and there was some problems.
But
with it
by
as
that
well,
time,
but-
nobody really cared.
yeah,
Third
not
Strike
until
out.
Street Fighter 4 rolled around. Then Street
I
Fighter
remember
4
made a splash.
Well, yeah, that kind of jump started. They're like fighting games in themselves were kind of taking a
Yeah, they
dive.
were, yeah.
Like Mortal Kombat wasn't really around. Street Fighter then wasn't really around.
Well, they
until like Street Fighter 4 and Mortal Kombat 9, and you've seen the kind of resurgence of fighting games now. starting to come.
Capcom went in the direction of teaming up with Marvel, and that's when they came out with X-Men versus Street Fighter. Not to mention they had X-Men Children of the Atom, so they decided to combine that, and then that was pretty much the precursor for Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah, they did.
And it kind of went in that direction.
Yeah,
and
those
kinda
were
kept-
very popular.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about the game and a little bit of history on the game and where that's gone. So Street Fighter. So rolling back, 1994, I believe, is when this movie came out.
Yeah.
And this was Street Fighter. So they basically
Street Fighter the movie.
Capcom actually funded this movie. Okay, so now changing gears to the movie. Capcom actually funded this movie, and they okayed a lot of the things that happened in this movie. It went by them first. And so what you got is what you got. So diving in, this movie starts off almost just like how the trailer started off, where you hear them talk about M. Bison.
Civil War.
Yeah.
It was just like a news broadcast with like Chun-Li, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Chun-Li's giving a news broadcast, and she's basically saying, oh, Bison, he's kidnapped like a bunch of people. I don't even remember who these people were.
It was just people.
It was just like people.
It was just, yeah.
Yeah, and then it was like the, I guess Guile was working for the equivalent of the United Nations Army. Because it wasn't like he was from America, but there was like it wasn't that.
Yeah, like his they seemed to stress pretty thoroughly that like his squad, his crew was like multinational. Like it wasn't.
It was
just
like their version
Yeah.
of Interpol.
Yeah, something like that.
So Bison wants to go ahead and hold 20 people hostage to the world for $20 billion.
Wasn't? Didn't
Yes.
he?
It was $20 billion.
Didn't he kidnap the entire city of people to
It
turn
looked like there
turn
was
it
like
into
maybe
a
40 people at that little.
No, he was expecting to I think he was gonna drain
Like-
a lot of the world's money or something like that. And his plan was really weird. It's just make a bunch of money, and he was gonna make M. Bison Topia.
I don't think. Yeah, Bison Topia.
He was trying
Yeah.
to. He was trying to turn their place into his own paradise,
Yeah.
where he would have his own currency.
Yeah, that's actually
Bison
pretty fun.
bucks.
Because there was a bunch of times where people got burned by Bison because he's so arrogant but the actor, he chews so much scenery.
He
and
was so good.
yeah, he
so
definitely is.
good.
He definitely is. In fact, I got a little clip here. This is the Bison rant, and it just kind of shows a little bit of how dramatic and how much of the scenery he just chewed.
On the contrary, I mourn. Okay. I was hoping to face Guile personally on the battlefield. One gentleman warrior to another
He's so good.
in respectful combat. Then I would snap his spine. Ah! The road not taken. But why?
Yeah.
Why do they still call me a warlord? And mad? All I want to do is to create the perfect genetic soldier. Not for power, not for evil, but for good.
But he shows them a bunch of Hitler, Nazi stuff.
Out of my laboratory and sweep away every adversary, every creed, every nation.
So that's just a little bit of how he just kind of really got in there, chewed up the scenery, and he just this force of he's he reminds me of one of these guys that's he'll tell you a bunch of stuff. I think I've met people like this in real life that will be like, oh yeah, I could do this, and then when it comes time to do it, it's some weird version of no, you can't really do that, because it's he's oh yeah, I'll pay you the money, and it's okay, give me the money, and then it's boom, bunch of money with his face on it. What? He's oh, but I'm gonna rule everything, so this money. You'd be happy you have this money.
It'll be good.
It'll be great.
But Bison to me sounded like a Bond villain
But actually,
more than anything.
just in the beginning, you have Bison, and he's got all these people captured, and then Guile comes on, and he's just all talking shit. Bison, we're gonna come get you and kick your ass. But how do we get Blanca? Is by Guile.
He called out Charlie. I'm
Right
coming
here.
for you, buddy.
Charlie! Charlie! Hang on, buddy. We're coming! We're coming! Hang on!
The look on Charlie's face when Guile broke the bro code.
There's Bison walking up.
Carlos Blanca. Charlie. So you are Guile's friend.
Not anymore.
Take him to the
Yeah,
laboratory.
not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'm like, after you pull
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah.
No.
Fuck you
You
guys.
fucking drop my name. What's wrong with you?
That's exactly what I say. It's so crazy.
J-
So
Gentlemen, I swear I was screaming at TV. You dick.
yeah.
You fucking dick.
So shortly after that, we have this whole setup, and then we get into seeing, which, you know, the craziest thing is, like what we just talked about with the game, Street Fighter 1 started with Ryu. Street Fighter 2, like Ryu, Ken, those are like some of the biggest people in the game. This movie just focuses like really on Guile
And Bison.
and Bison.
Yep.
And everybody
And
else
Chun-Li's
is,
pretty big too.
she is, but Ken and Ryu are not.
Oh yeah,
They're
they're
definitely not.
like
Ken and
secondary.
Ryu is the face of Street Fighter.
Yep.
But in this movie, they just took a back
No,
seat.
so they get introduced, and they're con artists. They're in like suits and
Yeah,
ties.
they try to sell
They're-
those tennis balls.
Yeah, they're tennis ball guns. Yeah, so they try to sell them tennis ball guns, and they have a great scene I had to grab where they talk to Sagat about curfew.
Didn't anyone tell you there's a curfew?
In Shadaloo City, no one tells me anything.
There is a 7 p.m. curfew in Shadaloo City. Violators will be shot on any.
Well, now he knows.
Yeah, now he knows. But Ryu and Ken come on scene, and they're just they're trying to sell the guns. Doesn't work. They end up in a big fight with Vega, and we get to see Vega for the first time. Now, I'll tell you this.
Vega was fucking fantastic. Like the guy that got to play Vega and
point.
the costume. Yeah, that was Vega.
Yeah,
Like, cause I was watching the movie, and I was like, yeah, this movie's probably garbage. Like I saw it when I was a kid, but I didn't really remember a whole lot. I was like, this is one of those movies that's not great. And then Vega came on screen, and I was like, maybe I'm wrong, because like it was like perfect. You know, they nailed it.
they definitely got some decent casting. We're gonna get a little bit into some of the behind the scenes stuff and some little tidbit facts I found on it. But one of the things about Ryu, and just talking about the casting, is the actor tried 6 times to try and get the role of Ryu for that movie before he finally got it. 6 times he went up. And
You gotta want
that
it.
whole Ryu and Ken, this whole thing, if you cut it out the movie, it's fine.
Yep, you don't miss much.
It's fine. They don't really do anything. Even at the like skipping ahead to the end of the movie, the only thing they possibly do is go save Balrog, who's a good guy, not a bad guy, who always in the games works for him. But they go to save Balrog and E Honda, and they've already saved themselves. So
I mean, they helped coordinate the ruse that.
with Guile.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I would say.
But that
they
didn't
could have
even
got
really,
like anybody
but
to do
like,
that. But
what purpose did that help anything? Like, so Guile played dead. What did that accomplish for him?
it allowed him to sneak up on him with the
No, he didn't.
final strike.
I refuse to say he snuck up on him because that whole scene, they're on boats and they're let's go invisible.
And I can still see the boat.
Yeah, and they shoot. Yeah, because he pulls it up on the camera. Like, what is that? And you don't see the boat because it's camouflage, but you see the water spraying out. Now, more than that, the first thing they do is start shooting out radar equipment.
Yep.
How are you sneaking on anybody if you're going to shoot out radar
That's what
equipment?
I was thinking.
You're
I was like,
supposed to
if
go
you're sneaking
undetected.
past
I was kind of wondering. I was like, who's on post right now? Nobody sees that?
They blew out like 4 of them before someone was like, "Uh-oh."
Yeah,
That-
exactly. So
I don't remember that in the training manual.
If you are successfully sneaking by, start blowing shit up.
Yeah, nobody can see the smoke and the flames.
no, not at all.
Not
Nor
at all.
will they pull up on the computer, which looked like an arcade stick thing. And I liked the screen for the computer, which had like pictures of stick figures, and it was like prison. It was like a stick figure with bars in front of them,
I
and
don't
then it
remember
was
that. I
like
must have missed that.
there was
I
a
didn't see
couple
that.
shots. I was trying to find like a good picture.
I mean, I remember when Bison was shooting back at Guile, and he had like an arcade joystick. No, when he was blowing up the mines,
Right.
He was just like, "Yeah!" and, like smashing buttons, and like, what the fuck was the joystick for? And he was just like moving shit around, like,
The
"Ah."
stick
Yeah.
figures I thought was it's like an easy do-it-yourself control system.
Yeah, basically, I guess so. I mean, yeah. But so, cutting back, we have Ryu and Ken, and they get into a thing, and then they have this showdown with Vega where it looks like it's going to be a real big fight scene, and then Guile busts in with like this like comically big tank with huge missiles on it, and it's just like everybody like arrest whatever.
I think that tank was missing like bald eagles and American flags.
Oh, it had Guile on top.
Yeah. Who's like definitely American.
Yeah, he's all
right?
American.
Like all American.
Look
like
at
we
him.
see that with his flexing American flag tattoo, but we don't see that in his dialogue because there's nothing American. But, America's full of immigrants, so I'm not going to pick on that. It's just kind of funny. Yeah. But
it just felt like George Washington should be on that tank with him.
Yeah. So they arrest him and they devise the plan of faking his death, but I feel like that movie never capitalized on the purpose of faking his death. And then I
feel like there's some detail, but maybe I'm just trying to give it credit.
I think you're trying to give it credit.
I'm just trying to
I think you're trying to give it credit because
if both of you can't recall anything,
I really can't recall anything on it. So I don't know why. It was just a scene that Chun-Li sneaks in and she finds out that he's still alive. And then we have that was actually where the rant from Bison was from, is when he first finds out about Guile's death. And
because he wanted to fight him.
I mean, with Guile's death making Ken the trigger man, wasn't that just more for now we trust Ryu and
was
Ken?
That what it was supposed to be? Was it supposed to be a show of faith from Ryu and Ken?
Maybe, you know what? I think you're right. I think that's what it was. Because
so questionable with the weapons and everything.
Yeah.
They did not trust them.
Ryu and Ken busted them out, and they were the ones who shot Guile.
Yeah, it was Ken.
And it got them in with Sagat.
That or Guile was a really shitty shot.
Got into Bison's camp, which also so did Chun-Li and Balrog and Honda get in there as well, sneaking in as like performers. They sneak into to the tent for some reason.
Ridiculous. I was just like,
did you notice when they pulled up the handle cover? It said Capcom.
Yeah, the barrel said Capcom on it. It was Chun-Li came out of. It said Capcom.
Her outfit was pretty sexy.
And so then, that all comes to a head and they get kidnapped and they get brought into. And, this movie was, just talking it out, I feel like I'm halfway through the movie already in less than 10 minutes. It's just, it's rapid fire fast. It's not a long movie. And
I think it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, something like that. And it just kind of cuts from just scene to scene on stuff. And then you get...
I mean, you can pretty easily tell that they were just trying to figure out a way to set up for the big fight at the end. The whole big battle. And they were like, all right, we just have to make this make sense. Let's get the bare minimum here. Let's get the ball rolling. People just want to see all of our characters fighting
all of them.
Well, and that's kind of what they did. They just shoved all their characters in there. Guile, Cammy, T-Hawk.
That was a shame.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. T-Hawk, there's a great one where they're just a scene of them climbing. You don't see any mouths moving. This was complete ADR. They were just like, hey, let's do some explanation with T-Hawk.
T-Hawk, what's with the headband?
It's Cherokee. I wear for good luck in battle.
Should have brought 3 of them.
Were you?
Thanks, T-Hawk.
Yeah.
Were you like me in the movie? Oh, that's T-Hawk.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Okay, great.
No idea.
I had no idea.
I was like, there he is.
Yep, there he is. So that was it for T-Hawk.
That's it.
So he had a couple other lines.
I mean, you see his face.
You see his face. He had 1 or 2 small lines, but then that was it.
Yep.
And this thing with Cammy. Cammy had a few lines.
Cammy was a little more present.
I'll tell you this. I thought Cammy and Guile had much more going on together than Chun-Li and Guile. But at the end, they try and play it up like Guile and Chun-Li are a thing. And I mean, they did do it kind of throughout. She breaks out and he's like, what a woman, And he's...
I hate to say it, I think even Ryu and Ken had more chemistry than they did.
Yeah, that was definitely the bromance coming down of a lifetime.
Because the scene when Ryu and Ken was watching the magic show, and when Chun-Li looks at Ken, he just turns and looks at Ryu and says, I think she likes me. I'm sitting there No, but Ryu does.
Yeah, that was that scene. Yeah, he definitely did. So, and next after that, so they're kidnapped, they're captured. Everybody thinks Guile's dead, and then there's this like weird torture scene for Balrog and E Honda, where E Honda gets whipped, but he starts placing himself.
He's got
in
his
place.
mind in another place.
Who,
okay.
by the way, who's not even Japanese, but Samoan.
Yeah, he's yep.
Yeah, and then they do a nice quick line where it's like the first Samoan sumo wrestler. Like they add this little bit in there that's like, oh yeah, we know he's Samoan, but it's cool, you know. I don't know why they just were grabbing everybody, and I guess it didn't matter. Like a lot of the characters were pretty faithful to how they looked in the game. Like Sagat, I didn't think he was a bad.
I felt like
choice.
the character representation.
Vega definitely was there. I mean, Ryu and Ken, okay. They just
Ken, no.
Ken looked more like Joey Gladstone from Full House.
Yeah, Ken, because as soon as they walked out at the beginning and I saw Ryu and Ken, I was like, okay, that's Ryu. And I was like, who the fuck is that guy? And I was like, is that supposed to be Ken? You know? And then it turns out it's supposed to be Ken. But
yeah, because they just never left each other's side.
Yeah.
No. Never
did.
at all.
And you know one thing that I thought
Except
was
for
weird?
one time, they left. And then they came right back together.
It's
really
called
fast.
separation anxiety.
Yeah, like they split up.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And then he looked on the camera and saw Ryu about to get jumped.
Yeah, in fact, they actually summed up the whole movie at that point.
I don't understand. I know you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
I nodded my head.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. Yeah, I think they split up there, and but that comes later. So they're in the base. Then and at first, Chun-Li and them think, oh, we've been betrayed by them because in the tent, Chun-Li tells them, oh no, we are wanting to take down Bison, and Ryu and Ken are like, oh yeah, we do too. But then when they walk back in, Sagat and Bison have started fighting with each other because Bison just gave Sagat a bunch of money with Bison's face on it. And Sagat's like, wait, what? No. Fuck that shit.
I need real money.
Yeah, I need actual money.
It will be real money.
And Bison's like, well, trust me, it's going to be much more worth than regular money.
Yeah, sure. But that's why Bison needs $20 billion so that he can make his money worth it, I guess. Whatever. But so in between them starting to fight, Ryu and Ken are like, oh, hey, look at there. They're actually wanting to kill you, Bison. Sure. And they kind of cool things down so they don't get shot in crossfire. And so Chun-Li and her crew start feeling kind of, pissed off behind it. And when they're getting tortured, Ryu and Ken try and save them, but they end up saving themselves.
Yeah, they just...
Again, Ryu and Ken, which I guess the only purpose they really had there was to sneak into Bison. But to that point, what information did they give Guile that helped?
I have no idea.
Exactly.
No, they had to sneak in so they can get their suits, so they can look like Ryu and Ken.
Oh yeah, well that was the important part of it. Then
the first thing I thought is like, what's up with these video game movies? Like Mario did the same shit.
Yeah,
they got their suits from the enemy facility. It was like, what's going on?
And then like,
this?
oh yeah, they're in their karate suits, just like Mario and Luigi were in their, I guess, plumber suits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Zangief's like, now you look like one of us.
Now you look like.
And I'm thinking,
let's get into Zangief. Zangief was
great.
Best character.
Yeah, Zangief was fantastic.
The best.
It was beautiful.
Yes, it was very beautiful. Zangief just had some of the greatest lines. You had this with him and E Honda, where you had the Godzilla fight.
Oh yeah,
the best fight in the movie.
Yeah. So they had the Godzilla fight against each other on the camera, where they had the Asian guy who's like, look.
All right, so the Asian guy. Okay. Why? When Guile was talking about his plan to go in the stealth ship up there, why did they have that guy stand up and say in the most horrible, like, broken English, like, any one of those other dudes could have got up and been like, but that's suicide. But no, they get this guy. And as soon as the owner was like, why is he the guy that's talking?
Yeah, and he had that line, and then he appeared one more time when he
To
showed
set
the
up the
TV,
Godzilla fight
the
thing.
Godzilla fight, and then that was it. And I don't think he's a character.
Nope, he was just a dude. So I couldn't understand why they chose him.
The entire time I'm sitting there thinking, all right, go ahead and tell me that's Fei Long.
Yeah,
Go ahead and tell me.
because he
exactly.
does.
Just,
He
all right,
does
come on.
appear at the end
And-
when
and
they're
with the
doing their
pose.
little
Yeah, he's
fighter
also in there,
pose.
too.
He's at the end, and he has like the little praying hands thing that he does. That like,
Doesn't Fei Long do that?
I think so.
I
Fei
don't
Long's
know.
basically a Bruce Lee knockoff,
Yeah, he's
straight up.
Bruce Lee.
Like,
I mean, what would have really gave it away if it really was Fei Long? If for some odd reason he took off his shirt and put on like fighting pants that looked like Bruce Lee, and I'm like, what?
yeah.
What purpose was that?
Well, that movie, you know, that sums up a lot of this movie. What purpose was that? Because Ryu and Ken could have done without. Blanca, don't understand. Like,
Well, because that was M. Bison's goal. He wanted to make a genetic super soldier.
So they had to have Dr.
For
Dalzim.
good.
yeah, because he's not
Dalsim. I did not see that. I didn't even realize that was what they were calling. And at the end, he's bald. Where the fuck happened to
Yeah,
his hair?
he becomes bald, and he has the little chain.
Yep.
the circle
He just
chain and stuff,
emerges as Dalsim.
Yeah.
Like the last 10 minutes of the movie. Up until then, he's just a doctor who doesn't really want to do what he's being forced to. And at the end, he's got his little tinkly bracelets, and he's bald, like clean shaven bald. Like,
Well,
he took the time to sit there and shave that shit.
His message was pretty clear. I did something ridiculous, so now I have to look ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah, I must have told.
yeah, basically so.
And now him and Blanca are doing what? What the fuck happened? Did they just die in the explosion? Was that the idea? They just stayed down
they
there?
kind of. I think it was like one of those left up in the air, like you don't know what happened to him type thing. Because you know, in movies, a lot of times, like if you're caught in an explosion, there's always a possibility you survive.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
If you fall off a cliff or something, there's always a possibility you landed in water and you're still alive. Even though if you fell high from an high altitude into water, you probably break every bone in your body slapping the water. So in real life, you know.
Quickly, when the island was coming, the temple was coming down, and Dalzim was saying, "We have to atone." I'm sitting there like, "What the fuck did Blanca do?"
Blanca
He's the
didn't
one
do
that got.
shit.
He's the one that got
Yeah,
buddy
he's a
fucked by
totally
Guile.
victim.
Guile
He is
should have
100%
fucking stayed
victim.
behind.
Yeah.
Blanca was just like, they made me ugly as fuck. So
Yeah.
what did I do?
And they made him into a rage monster.
You know, and that was kind of funny too because, you know, nowadays too, you kind of get more of a. I'm not saying they were going for this or really trying to bring it up in that manner, but you get more of this PC thing and more like even movies like Beauty and the Beast where you're like accept them for who they are type deal. And Guile was like, no, I'm gonna shoot this motherfucker because he's a monster
Yeah,
now
he was
and
like-
he's terrible. And it's
he's
like,
like, man,
what are we gonna
quality
do
of
with
life.
him? He's just
Quality of
ugly.
life.
Like, you know, he can't live anymore.
I was like, he's not getting out of here with that huge forehead.
Yeah,
So
it's like,
not
yeah, okay,
happening.
he doesn't look the same. It kind of sucks, but you know, he still has life. You don't have to freaking murder him. And the doctor made him half bad, half good, like everybody in the world. You know, everybody can have, you know, good or bad. It just depends. So, yeah, I
I
mean,
thought he was like 60% bad, 40% good. I thought it got over the 50 percentile.
I don't know if it got over. I think it
thought
might
did.
have.
could be
I
wrong.
thought it should when Guile popped up. And I'm thinking that Blanca, like Blanca had his cool. He's like, yeah, he's attacking him. He's like, it's me, Guile. Yeah, I know it's you, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. This is all your fault.
Now I just went to 100% rage.
Yeah, now I just discovered I can shock your ass.
Yeah, which I think I got a little bit of the education.
What's he receiving?
See for yourself.
Merely educational software.
Yeah.
Educational software.
Yeah, just a bunch of people screaming and like, it's like, oh, that's educational software.
Yeah,
just
like,
all
does
the
the
hatred.
audience know that M. Bison's a villain yet?
Yeah.
Not really
Well-
sure. Let's make sure we just hammer it home.
Yeah, well, actually, it's a good thing they did.
General Bison, he's a bad guy.
Because Zangief
Good
didn't know.
old Zangief.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Didn't...
But that was just Zangief's charm, though, man. Zangief
He was
awesome.
great.
Change the channel. That shit cracked me up.
Yeah, the change the channel bit was pretty good. Yeah.
That caught me out of nowhere.
Yeah,
That
I
was
didn't see
great.
it. Yep. That made me laugh.
That was great. Like every time I was so zoning out of this movie, I'm like, man, please let something good happen. And then Zangief answer all of my prayers.
There you go.
Which actually, I was looking into some of the actors and stuff like that, and that's how I kind of came across that Turok movie, because the actor who played Vega,
Okay.
I believe, voices somebody in this weird Turok movie I think we're going to do next. And the guy who played Zangief, which is Andrew, I can't even pronounce his last name, is Byron Nasarki.
Sure.
He actually was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the new remakes they did in the early 2000s. They kind of remade Texas Chainsaw Massacre and then did a prequel. So he went from Zangief to Texas Chainsaw. He was Leatherface. He was the actual killer.
He should have been Zangief.
Yeah.
Just
in
kept
that
him as
movie.
Zangief.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yep. And,
It's too late.
the guy who played Ryu, his name is
Byron
Byron Mann.
Mann.
Byron Mann. He actually did he's like, if you check his the movies that he's done, he all over Steven Seagal movies. Just in a bunch of Steven Seagal
That's
movies.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
I most known him from Arrow.
The show.
Yeah, he was
Yeah,
in
the
the
show.
Arrow show. For,
I've always seen I've seen the first 2 seasons. I don't know if he was in there.
He was the old Asian man on the
On
island.
the island?
That
Okay.
betrays.
Actually,
the main
Chun Li,
character.
to speak to that too, Chun Li, the actress who plays her, which is Ming Na Wen,
Yeah.
she actually
Was she
plays.
in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
She is an agent. of
Oh, okay.
S.H.I.E.L.D..
I knew I recognized
Yeah,
her.
that's her.
She was the cavalry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So that's her. Yeah. So, anyways, this movie winds down after they're, get out of prison and all this kind of stuff. And, the island's about to blow up, and we get the final fight with Guile and Bison. And kind of underwhelming. And there's reason for that, though. Because.
I think they also kind of made up for that whole build-up between Ryu and Vega. And
That's what I was
finally we
saying.
got to see that.
You also got to see the fight with Ryu, Vega, Ken, and Sagat. It was okay.
Yeah, not too bad.
Although Sagat, I did not like the guy they got to play Sagat.
I was trying to figure out, why did he have the scar on his chest this time? Like, they just gave him a scar at the end of the movie, and I'm like,
Yeah,
how
he was
did
supposed
get
to have gotten that from Ryu.
I remember Ken uppercut him.
Well,
I'm sitting
I
there
think
like,
that-
I don't remember him getting a gash from that.
Yeah,
I
think,
thought he was supposed to get the scar from Ryu.
in the
Short
games and
Ryu.
stuff.
Right, in
that's
the
what it's
canon
from.
stories from Ryu.
Yeah, in the stories from Ryu. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
In this movie, it's just, hey, more fanfare.
yeah.
Yeah, it was just for the image. He
Yeah,
has to have
it's
the
just
scar.
like, oh, yeah,
So
he
they
has
would
it.
be like, oh, that's him. You know, they didn't figure it out by that time.
Well, and I'm gonna go ahead and get into some of this. So this is some stuff we got from IMDb, and there was some fun trivia facts and some interesting stuff that I thought we could put on the podcast.
Okay.
And I think it has relation to some of the stuff. So
Oh.
I know at the time in Bison, the actor Raul Julia,
So good.
yeah, he was also suffering from cancer, and
I
this was the
heard
last
this.
movie he did.
Yeah, I heard
they
about
actually
this.
dedicated this movie to him because he died after the filming, and I think that had a lot to do with the fighting stuff they had to do. Because trying to find it here.
I remember seeing his death in the magazine before the movie was even released. Because it was a big article about the movie because it was so hyped. The next page was R.I.P. Raul Julia.
But this here says Charlie Perney was hired as the stunt coordinator with the agreement the cast would have ample time to train. However, the plan was changed once they learned of Raul Julia, he had cancer. They were going to work around Raul Julia's schedule, recording his easier scenes while the other cast trained, but due to his weakened state, the director didn't want him on camera. They ended up only training right before their scenes, sometimes hours before the scene. And you notice a lot of the fight with him and Guile, like he wasn't
It's
doing
very
much.
basic. Yeah.
It's very basic.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, and I believe that's why.
It's mostly him kind of standing around and throwing some punches, and Guile like spinning roundhouse kicking and flipping up from under his Bowser-esque
Yeah.
He's
floating cauldron
he's
thing.
telling him, he's like, all right, this scene you're gonna take a wind kick.
Yeah.
All right, in this scene you're gonna take another roundhouse.
Yeah.
I hope you're feeling better because here's another roundhouse.
Yeah.
Can you come on out again for another roundhouse?
Yeah, we got another one coming.
Yeah, we got another one.
That's how shit went back then. Like I remember we used to watch.
It's Jean-Claude Van Damme movies.
Well, even like,
He
like
has
Chuck
to.
Norris. Like Chuck Norris is just roundhouse after roundhouse after roundhouse. You know, that's just it. That's all the fights are. It's roundhouse kicks.
Yeah, that's basically it. Until he gets electrified and then gets powers where he's
Starts
floating
shocking
around,
people.
shocking people and stuff like that.
But hey, what about those guy
So-
one-liners?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I do have a mix. Let me see if I pull it up here of Guile one-liners that I put together because the whole movie was filled with Guile's.
That's like his entire script.
Yeah,
you know, like that's
that's-
like all he really did.
Yeah,
That
what
is.
what,
Tried
what do
to
you want
zing
me to say
people.
in this scene?
So here.
Something corny.
I tried to put it
good.
together with a little music. Let's see how it goes.
Nice.
This Guile's theme song from the game.
Oh yeah.
I know you like to look at yourself on television, you sick son of a bitch. So look at this. The only way you two are living is over my dead body. Well,
That was
I'm
foreshadowing.
the Ripper Man, and you're out of business. If I didn't give you an interview when I was alive, no way I'm gonna do it when I'm dead. No, you've lost your balls. The war is canceled. Hey, I would love to, but some moron just scanned me.
This is the collection agency, Bison. Your ass is 6 months overdue.
And it's mine. 4 years of ROTC for this shit. Come out from
Probably my
behind the
favorite
curtain, wizard. I'm just half dead.
And Bison?
All dead. Bison, you're off the air.
Yeah, that was when he roundhouse kicks him into the right. Isn't that when he
Yeah.
roundhouse kicks into all the TVs?
You're off the air. And then it's the roundhouse kick.
And he flies.
So, getting into some of the things here with it. So, Street Fighter, December 23rd, 1994. Its budget was about $35 million. Half of that budget went to the salaries of Jean-Claude Van Damme and Raul Julia. Half the budget went to those two actors. The rest of the budget went to all the production costs, all the other actors, and everything else.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Because you got what you need.
Yeah.
You got Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Van Damme.
And-
You got Gomez Adams. You
It
good?
grossed its opening weekend or opening week. It did about right at $7 million domestically, and it did lifetime of about $33 million domestically. It had a $35 million budget, so it'd have been a loss if it didn't do $66 million in the rest of the world. So it was actually a success. It pulled in a little over $100 million, right at about $100 million with a $35 million budget, with half of it going to two guys. Now, this movie was Jean-Claude Van Damme's first PG-13 movie. And during filming, Jean-Claude Van Damme had a drug problem, and he had an affair
Hell yeah, he did.
with Kylie Minogue,
He couldn't.
which was the actress who played
That was
Cammy.
good old Cammy.
Which again, what I said earlier, like I felt like there was some more chemistry between him and Cammy and him and Chun-Li. Maybe that's just me, but I thought that watching it before I found out about this. And when I seen it, I was like, that kind of makes sense. So apparently he got in some water having an affair with her. And of course, you know, him being through the 80s and early 90s, you know, cocaine was pretty rampant through that scene a lot of times. And yeah, he was drugged out.
Yeah, because I don't remember her playing in anything else. But later on in 2000s, she actually put out a pop song.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Can't Get You Out of My Head.
Yeah, that was.
Was it about Van Damme?
No,
Probably.
I guess it could have been, but it wasn't exactly about him. Next, the
Her
Legend
ass
of,
was 6 months overdue.
I've come to collect.
The Legend of Chun-Li, which is the movie we'll be covering next, was intended to be be more successful than the original Street Fighter,
So
but
much
it
for
definitely
that.
made
Yeah.
less money.
So much for that.
Oh, we're gonna get into that next episode.
Jesus.
Man.
The director for Street Fighter, his name is Steven E. D'Souza. deferred his salary to pay for the cast. So he didn't take a cut of his basic
believed in
salary.
this shit.
He believed in Street Fighter.
That's
commitment.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. And then I shared on Instagram the frowning clown painting in Bison's private quarters in the scene where he's talking to Chun-Li. In fact, I have here him and Chun-Li's scene where he has the little speech about Tuesday.
I'm sorry.
The best speech in the movie.
I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life.
Fuck, he's so good.
But for me, it was Tuesday.
Frowning clown painting that was in that scene at that time was done by, there's a famous painting done by John Wayne Gacy. But it was like that clown, but it looked like it had a little bison hat put on top of it.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it.
Yeah,
I was sad.
I noticed it.
I recognize the clown painting. I'm like, that's John Wayne Gacy.
No, I didn't even notice.
He painted that in prison.
The only thing I remember from that scene is being just annoyed with Chun-Li. I was just like, I don't give a shit about, I was like, I don't care. Just break the fucking cut and start fighting. Like, I don't give a damn.
She was pretty annoying, but at the same time, it's like Raul Julia was trying to woo her.
I guess that was it. Like, it was a weird scene where it's like,
Well, I mean, it was. Like, it just kind of, that made sense to me. Like, he's delusional,
It definitely played into his character.
Yeah.
Of him being Luigi, he's giving people money with his face on it. He's kidnapping women. And then, respectfully, not raping them.
Right.
But,
he's like, I'm gonna win this girl over.
Put it on music, got the robe on. We get to see him undress behind the thing. He, literally puts the thing up and just starts undressing and putting on his robe and stuff.
She's telling him, it's like, I'm here to kill you, and he's putting on Boys to Men.
Yeah. She's going into her whole tirade about how
I've got the perfect story to woo you.
Yeah, like killed her father and all this kind of stuff, and he's just like getting all sexy and it's like this is gonna happen.
Like Bison, I want your
I can
blood.
see I'm winning her.
Yeah, like it's good. She's gonna come around.
He's like, I want your death, and it's like, well, do you want these chocolate covered strawberries? No, it's okay. I'll eat them.
Yeah.
All right.
Now. Right at the scene when we got to the boat scene where they come in and all that, which we talked about, that actually was supposed to be an aircraft scene. It was supposed to come in by plane.
Was it really?
But due to large number of aircraft needed for the final attack on M. Bison's compound, filmed in Thailand, Thailand's government wouldn't allow the use of its airspace, so they had to change it to a boat. To boats.
I don't see how it would have made a difference.
It's like, oh, it's a stealth copter. It's like, I can hear something in the air.
Yeah, that would have made a difference either way. It's fine that it was boats.
Capcom, of course, as I said before, is co-financier of the film and approved, every aspect of the film before it got released. Capcom wanted a December release date, so it made the cast maintain an aggressive filming schedule. And Capcom long envisioned Van Damme as Guile. So they used $8 million of the budget for him, and about another $8 million went to Raul Julia. So with a $33 million budget and $16 million going to those two guys, basically about half of that budget went to them too.
But to take the time, it still behooves me of what other part Jean-Claude Van Damme actually turned down to be Guile. And that was the part of Johnny Cage for the Mortal Kombat movie.
Yes, he did. He was supposed to be Johnny Cage, but he decided to do the Street Fighter movie
because
instead.
he felt that it would make more money.
Yeah, and you know what? You're probably right. He made $8 million.
That's what I was about to say. I don't recall.
I don't think Midway. I didn't do the research into it. We
successful.
didn't. We're gonna do that movie soon, but I doubt Midway had the kind of pockets Capcom did at the time to be able to fund this movie. Because
Capcom had more than just Street Fighter.
Oh yeah, they had more than Street Fighter going on, and so they were a kind of established company way before the '90s, and so yeah, they were able to put money and finance
and bigger stars.
Yeah, bigger stars. Yeah, so
I always thought that was weird that he turned on the part that was inspired by him.
What? Oh, Johnny Cage?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Johnny Cage.
Originally, Mortal Kombat was supposed to be a Jean-Claude Van Damme fighting game.
I didn't know that. Wow. That dude doesn't give a fuck.
Remember Johnny Cage that's on side of the arcade station of Johnny Cage doing a flying kick? His costume that he's wearing is pretty much Jean-Claude Van Damme's costume from Bloodsport.
That's funny.
But instead of it like being a yellow tassel, it's actually red.
Now, this movie did something just like how we talked about with Super Mario Bros. Super Mario Bros. Was supposed to be an R-rated movie, adult-rated movie. It then got toned down to PG. Street Fighter 2. Yeah, but it got to PG-13. What happened was the MPAA gave the first submitted cut of R rating to Street Fighters, which Capcom didn't like, who wanted it PG-13. But after all the cuts were made, it was a G rating. So then they put some more stuff in there to make it up to PG-13, which we talked about before. And I think some of those cuts, some of that stuff was...
I really feel like they originally had a fight with Ryu and Vega at the beginning. And it just feels like that got cut.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it was just set up, like that shit was about to happen.
Yeah, like it was set up like I was really expecting to go down.
Especially considering it's Ryu.
And then you also made the comment that they said, like, where were we? I was winning. They make a comment when they actually do fight.
Vega says, where were we? And Ryu looks at him, he's like, I was winning. And I was like, no, nobody was doing shit.
Even fought.
So like I had to wonder if that was a script that didn't really they didn't fix that from a previous cut.
They were just like, well,
they ran out of budget.
It still kind of works, So I don't know. I just when I saw it and when I saw the tanks, I was like, that didn't seem right.
They ran out of budget, so they just had to continue.
Yeah. So that's kind of it for the little fun fact stuff. And then that was kind of run through of the movie. Basically, we kind of took our tangents on it throughout, but I basically think we covered just about the movie of itself. And
what about the final scene of the poses?
Of the pose, everybody does their pose.
That's beautiful.
We did not get into that.
I'm gonna put that up, but yeah, Guile combing his hair, doing that up, that was pretty great.
So one thing we did not cover is their attempts to fit in everybody's special attacks. That was probably one of my favorite things to look for when I was watching the movie. So I was just hoping that there was a sonic boom somewhere in there. There wasn't, but he did the little flip kick, and I think they even added a little flash effect to one of them. I might be wrong.
They did
the
that.
wind kick.
Yeah, but they also did that to Ryu because Ryu does his hands in that form.
He does
like a dude.
Ken does the uppercut.
Ken's uppercut cracked me up. Did anybody else see that shit?
Honestly, I didn't even catch
it. It was a half-ass uppercut.
He kind of I think he was on the ground. I think he got up with an uppercut, and he does a ballerina twirl like that when he just spins. And then sets back into his position, and I was like, "That was the uppercut." Didn't even get feet off the ground, none of that shit.
I felt like they were trying to tell him, "All right, try and do an uppercut. I haven't done one before. That's why I said just try."
They were like, and you have to throw a spin in there. So he was like, "Huh? How's that, guys?" That was what it was. God, it was so bad. Cammy literally says thrust kick for one of her kicks.
She does say that. It does come out. Thrust kick.
Yep.
Wow. Right there when they're kind of invading the little island.
I was hoping Sagat would do a tiger knee, but I don't think he did. I don't think he did. Vega did all of his, and again, fucking nailed it. The little flip with the... That was seamless. That was perfect. Everybody else was kind of wonky. Because they tried to do the whirlwind kick. Don't even ask me what the name is. But the Ryu and Ken's little
hurricane kick.
Oh yeah, the hurricane kick.
Yeah, and that was shitty. It was just kind of a weird shot. It was he kind of looks like he did something.
I would have to agree with Tim on this. Vega's pose is probably the best. And
Vega fucking nailed it.
I wish he was at the end with everybody else. Let's just fit him in the corner.
He just runs into the side and he's because he did so good. Yeah. I think E Honda, didn't he do his hand thing at some point?
He did.
Balrog. All they had him do
He
was
did like
go,
a wind up punch.
he did a wind up punch, and then I have to assume. Now I'm not too familiar, but the way it played out in the movie, I was like, that must be because he does it in the game. There's a scene where they're having the shootout, and there are people running up, and he like punches one, and he goes, "Hey!" And he punches someone else, and goes, "Goodbye." And I was like, okay, that must be something from the game because that was weird as fuck for him to throw that in there. So I was like, that must have been a special attack, or at least just something specifically from the character.
Yeah.
Chun-Li, none of her shit. Oh wait, no, she does the upside down, doesn't she? No, she does that in the other movie.
Legend of Chun-Li.
Okay, but in Street Fighter,
I think you were thinking of City Hunter.
She didn't do a single thing
with Jackie Chan.
Right? She didn't do any. She didn't do her like super fast.
I don't think she did anything.
No. Except for her pose.
I mean, she beat Bison's ass. Like holy shit, she whooped his ass.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, he had cancer, so not really, but yeah. So.
Yep.
R.I.P. Roger Lee.
But
it was a great performance. Although I wish his last movie probably wasn't Street Fighter. Yeah, it was a.
As bad as it sounds, I really wish his last movie would have been a third Addams Family. I would have loved to see that.
Dude, what killed me about him the whole time was those bulging eyes.
Them eyes.
Those eyes were just like popping out of his freaking skull the whole time. Like I don't think he needed cameras around the world to see everything. He just needed to look really big and he would have seen everything happening.
I think just Raul Julia just got away with whatever he wanted on set. They were paying him. He's like, well, what if I do this? They're like,
he was making
that's good.
Jean-Claude Van Damme budget just about. I mean, he made it. Him and Jean-Claude made half the movie. Like it was just whatever they wanted. I'm sure that's what happened.
I felt like they wrote their own roles.
I was gonna say that, especially with regard to Bison. It seems like the movie, like the director, I would assume, had a certain image for Bison where they were like, he's a bad guy, he's capturing people, wants to rule the world, and the actor was like, no.
What about this?
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna rock this shit. I'm gonna be a fucking dystopian,
He's like, how do we fit this into the movie?
Exactly. How do we make this make sense? And he was like, I don't give a shit. Okay, just say some shit. And he's like, all right, Bisontopia. I'm pretty sure.
I feel like the really long speech he did, for them to fit that into the movie, they felt, we got to cut this Ryu and Vega fight. Because we need more of these.
We need more of this.
We need this.
It's funny, too, because they actually got hit with it. Variety commented on Julia's performance, saying it was his weakest performance, accentuating each and every syllable as if he were reciting a Shakespearean role of grand emotional rage.
Bullshit.
It's too bad, for this is the accomplished actor's last film, and it is dedicated to him.
He was
so good. Shit on you, sir.
So good.
Yeah, he was pretty great. So we kind of wrap this movie. I'm going to pause it for a moment because, Ryan, you need to get the mixed drink. And then you need to tell us about it.
Oh, sweet.
So we're going to pause. We'll be back. And, there's no commercial break. I'll be back in like 2 seconds for you. But it's going to be like maybe a couple minutes for us. So. All right, we're back that fast. And, Ryan, why don't you go ahead? You have your mixed drink that we're going to be trying today. And in theme with Street Fighter. Tell us what you call it. Tell us what it's about. And I'm going to try it.
Cool. Thanks, Seth. This is a slight segment called Gamer Needs to Drink Badly. And I decided to come up with drinking concoctions based on video games since it's working so well with the food. I decided to make this drink in honor of my favorite character of the movie, Zangief, of course. So I came up with my own concoction, which is a spin off of a Black Russian. I call it too late. Because once it hits your lips, it's too late.
Fucking right, it's too late. That shit hit my chest like a motherfucker just now.
Well, then it did its job.
So what's in it?
Now, to pretty much make this drink, it's pretty much, I use a dab of Russian standard vodka, because it has to be Russian, and it's good stuff. It's a dab of vodka, and it's a dab of what I like to use. It's supposed to be coffee liqueur, so my liqueur of choice is Kahlua, because it tastes better. Trust me, I've tried other stuff, and it's way too bitter. So it's a dab of vodka, it's a dab of liqueur, and it's a slight pinch of vanilla. Add an ice cube, and you go to town.
All right, man. Well, honestly, I'm drinking it. It's not bad. I think it's pretty good, but it does have a strong kick to it. And,
It's too late.
Yeah, it definitely makes it too late. So if y'all guys want to watch a Street Fighter movie, relive a little bit of the 90s, why don't you sit back with a drink of Too Late and, enjoy it. I think we're all done here with the with Street Fighter. Does anybody else have anything they want to comment on before we shut this shit down?
Yes, I'd like to say that Too Late is perfect for this movie because when you first start it, it's too late. So the drink will go well with it, and I hope you all enjoy it.
All right, Tim.
It's too late.
That pause was actually like an hour and a half.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
It's a well-needed pause.
All right. Well, this is Losing Lives Podcast. And again, check out www.who'snextgaming.com. You'll see this podcast as well as our other one, which is Who's Next Podcast. That one is just a compilation of segments where we do just different crazy stuff and just try and have fun doing stuff about gaming. The last episode that just came out, we did some Resident Evil food, which...
God damn it.
Yeah.
Seth,
Yeah,
I still taste that pig vagina.
Yeah. So if you want to know what that's all about, go check out that episode. Thanks for listening.